God, I've seen so much.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
Somewhere between science and superstition.
We have such sights to show you.
Strange Eons. Welcome to Strange Eons Radio. That is Eric over there somewhere.
Hello.
And that is Vanessa over there somewhere. And I am Kelly. Gang, we're doing a sudden Zoom call because just before recording, Vanessa, you did not feel very well today.
I don't feel good. I don't feel good. I feel hot and cold at the same time.
Oh.
And while I
sorry.
feel horrible that I don't get to see you guys in person,
Same.
I appreciate you not bringing your filth up to my house.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it's always the good way to go.
I mean, as soon as I come in, I lick every surface anyway, so you'll be saved that pleasure.
Yeah, every time you go to the bathroom, it's really gross.
Just like, the fridge handle. I gotta get this good.
This has gotten out of hand and disgusting.
Quickly.
Yeah, well, I feel horrible about that. Life is hard enough without your body then deciding to go, I don't feel very good either.
I kind of love it because it reminds me of when it doesn't suck. And it gives me a little extra joy for the good times, Because otherwise, if you just feel good all the time, then you
Vanessa,
never realize how good you have it.
You need the downs so that you can appreciate the ups.
Exactly.
Good point. Can't argue with that.
You know what? Let me just put this out here again. I say it all the time, but we don't really live in the world. We live in our heads. And so your world is how you decide your world is. If you're going to go out and search for all the horrible things in the world, which there are plenty, your brain is this this constant bias confirmation machine that just goes, yes, 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 that's what you want, right?
Yeah.
Conversely, if you sit there and go, life is good, then you start seeing all the things that aren't good. So put that in your head every once in a while. Make sure you concentrate on the people you love and not the horrible shit that you can't do a thing about. And you will be a happier person. At least that's what I hear.
That's what I've been told.
I will say I am an irritating optimist. Like, people get frustrated with how optimistic I am, but it's hard work. And you have to be willing to say, okay, there are bad things. It's not like you're blind to it. You just have to go, I have to make a decision. And every time you have to make a decision, like, am I going to give in or am I going to just push through? So it's easy either way to kind of fall into the darkness. And it's tough. It's a tough world right now, especially now.
Leaning in the optimism like I also do also makes it possible to do a show like this where we don't have to just sit here and complain about all the shit that's driving us nuts right now, and we can enjoy.
Let me talk about the 405. That's where I dump all my true anger.
Exactamundo. Hey, speaking of things that we enjoy, I saw a couple movies this week that I actually liked a lot.
Oh, okay.
Have you guys seen Heart Eyes yet?
No, but I hear that it's so much better than all the movies I chose to see.
You chose a poor Valentine's Day movie.
I did.
Because this is adorable and gross, gory. I'm not sure that it nails the landing, but I also didn't hate the landing. I thought it was very funny as I'm watching it to realize that it's set in Seattle. And I was like, oh. And then I'm looking at it. I'm like, is that Seattle? I don't remember that area. And then I was like, oh, that looks kind of like Seattle there. And then a bunch of palm trees around the police station. And I was like, this is not Seattle.
Definitely not Seattle.
So, and a huge set piece during a drive-in theater. I was like, nope. Unfortunately, this gigantic drive-in theater exists nowhere in Washington State, much less Seattle.
I know. I've been to all the drive-in theaters, I think, within a 100-mile radius. So.
Yeah, and this scene is huge. It looks like, probably 800 cars can be there.
Oh,
And then in
jeez.
Oh.
in the background is the Space Needle. And I was like, I want this place to exist so badly.
Oh, man.
Let's just plow down everything in the Seattle Center and just put in a drive-in. I'm down for
Yeah,
that. With the
it would
Space
be
Needle
neat.
right there.
But the movie itself is really funny. It's almost a Hallmark rom-com in the
Huh.
beginning with a meet cute of these two characters who are very attractive and hate each other, and they're going to fall for each other. And it just so happens while there is this murderous rampage going on, and I was just delighted with this movie. I think I've heard a lot of people kind of complain about how it's a little stupid, and I was like, are we worried about that in our horror films now?
And rom-coms. I mean, that's the combination of let's let the things go while we watch it. Movies there.
Yeah, I thought the acting was fine. I thought the story was fun. I thought the killer was really cool. He wears a mask with these LED heart eyes,
Yeah.
and all I could think of as a filmmaker was I don't know if you've ever put one of those masks on. You can't see a goddamn thing because the lights are
Right.
shining right in your eyes. And I was
Uh-huh.
like, this must have been impossible for this guy to actually see anything while they were shooting. But
That's
it's
why
a
people
really
get
neat
away.
looking
'Cause
mask,
they're like,
right?
I gotta look cool as this killer, but
Yeah, so that one is available to rent. It might even be on Prime now for free. I don't think so, not yet. But it is a cheap rental, and I thought well worth it. It's called Heart Eyes.
amazing. Oh man, I gotta check that out. Well, I saw something that just popped up onto Apple TV, which is a film called The Gorge.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I wanted to watch that.
Yeah, it's starring Miles Teller and Anya Taylor-Joy, with a little bit of Sigourney Weaver sprinkled in here and there.
Mm.
I don't know, from the trailer, it makes it look like this sort of almost a little bit sci-fi, like maybe spy versus spy or thriller or whatever. No, it's full fucking blown sci-fi romance
Yes.
Whoa.
movie. Yeah. Yeah. So you have a situation where there are two people who are some of the best assassins in the entire world. One is on the Western Hemisphere is one, and one is part of like kind of the Russian Empire. And they're both pulled from their respective places, agreeing to do a job, put onto these helicopters, drugged separately by their respective nations, and brought to a location, woken up, don't know where they are, and told that for the next year they will be defending their half of this gorge. And
Oh, wild.
yeah, so what they're trying to stop is things coming out of the gorge. What those things are takes a little while to show up and figure out what's going on. And in the meantime, they're both really bored and they're not allowed to talk to each other. But Anya Taylor-Joy is just this fuck it attitude Russian chick who gets drunk on her birthday and just starts writing big notes across the way and like bugging him. And of course, they're assassins. They have all the equipment to easily read each other's thing, no matter how big the gorge is. And it's another meet cute. Like, but when it gets crazy, it gets fucking crazy. Like the CGI, the monsters, the place is bananas. Like it's absolutely incredible. I loved this movie. It was just so much better than anything I could have imagined it would be. It's not perfect. There are a few moments in there where you're like, but overall, I had such a good time.
Yeah, I saw this one
Nice.
also,
Mm.
and it kind of went bonkers into an
Yeah.
area I was not expecting. And I was like, oh, wow, this is a lot more than I thought this movie was going to be.
Yeah.
I think I liked the first half better than the second half
Yeah, and that
when
makes
they
a lot
were,
of sense.
getting to know each other across the gorge and everything.
It
And I
really
thought,
shifts
what?
it really shifts gears pretty hard. So
Yeah, but I thought that there were a couple of cute moments as like they're playing chess across the gorge, which I thought was, a cute throwback to Anya Taylor-Joy's big series, and then they show him playing drums on the other side of the gorge,
I
which I was
know.
like a little throwback to Whiplash,
Whiplash.
and I was like, this movie is cute. It's made for people who like movies.
Mhm.
And then when it gets into the action stuff, I was like, wow. I thought for sure we were going to be seeing them having to fight off a horde of creatures coming out of the gorge. And
Yeah.
when they actually end up in the gorge, I was like, this is not where I thought this movie was going at all.
No, no, and the monsters down there are just wild. It
Wild.
reminds me a little bit of is it Assimilation? What's the movie where the girls
Annihilation.
Annihilation. It has
Yeah, it
that
has a
feel to
little bit of
it.
that in it.
Yeah, it's kind of like that, and it's a bit video gamey too when you're down
Very
there. So it
much.
really does shift into like superhero superpowers, not superpowers, but like they are gods. Like
Yeah.
to survive the things they survive. But it's a fun ride, and I really appreciated them spending so much time up front establishing the relationship they have.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. That's called The Gorge, and that's just on Apple Plus, I think.
Yep, Apple TV Plus.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so I saw one of the, I guess you'd call big releases of the current time, The Monkey.
Oh, I want to hear all about it.
I saw this at like, I went to a 10 a.m. screening,
Mhm.
time I could get in, and which I think might hurt it a little because there's only like 5 people in there,
Oh.
and it's a comedy, it's kind of a dark comedy, and it was one of those dark enough comedies where I'm kind of sitting there going, anybody else laughing at all at this? Am I just a little too warped here? What is wrong? Why aren't people
Oh,
laughing?
no.
Mm.
But it does a couple things that were disappointing. A little too much CGI in the mention. They talk about how gory the movie is. A lot of the big gore is CGI, which hurts those moments. But it has been forever since I read the story, so the basics are all I remember, and it seems to get that. It is well acted. It's fun. It's ridiculous at times, and in not a bad way. It feels just a touch of, do you want to be horror or do you want to be comedy? And I wish it would have pushed one way or the other a little harder.
Mhm.
But it's sort of like, it's the same director as Long Legs. And there's a lot in Long Legs where I was like, wow, this is really good. I wish it had pushed into the weird or into the procedure a little harder instead of sort of sitting on a weird line. And this kind of does that too.
Mm.
So, but it's good. And I fell for the insanity.
Oh, you did.
Oh my God, you did it.
If I had known you were doing that, I would have PayPal'd you some money or something and asked you to get one for me.
Well,
Oh my
it was a
God.
last minute thing. I walked in going, doubt they even have any left. It's like, do you have any left? It's like, yeah, we do. It's like, oh, okay. I guess I'll get one.
Oh, that's amazing.
Wow.
But
Wow.
it is pretty cool. But it's huge, man. Jeez, it is so large.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you had any interest in King, I would definitely check this one out. If you like
Not-
Long Legs, I
Not
don't
me.
know.
I don't like Stephen King at all.
No, not at
So-
all.
I've been looking forward to this one. I know that it doesn't really follow the story that much at all, which is only about 4 pages long.
Right.
And at first I was a little bummed to see that instead of the cymbals coming together, it's a drumming thing. And then did you
Yeah.
see the reason they changed that?
Isn't it like a
Uh,
right?
Is it a? No, I didn't. What is that?
Disney trademarked that cymbal monkey because it was in Toy Story 4.
Oh
Holy
my
crap.
God, that's so silly.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, they do some cool stuff with the monkey having little drumsticks, so they kind of make up for it. So that's all right. Stuff he couldn't have done with cymbals.
Yeah. Well, this is still on my list. I
Oh,
want to
yeah.
see it just because so tell me this. From the trailer, I got the feeling this was going to be the deaths were going to be kind of along the lines of like a Final Destination movie.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And those are the parts that when they do that, there's a few they do really well, and those are some of the good combinations of gore and humor to a few of them.
Okay.
And one particular works really well. I was like, oh man, keep doing that. But it was, yeah, it's definitely worth seeing. It
Okay.
it just has that, like I said, the same thing with Long Legs, where it's like, I really like this, but there's something weird here. And this one is the same thing. I really like it. And I'm pretty sure when I see it again, I'm going to like it even more. So,
Nice.
yes, go see it.
That is The Monkey, still in theaters. I also saw one of the big ones in the theater. The new
Yes.
Captain America, Brave New World.
Ah, the big one.
I liked it. I liked it more than a lot of the last couple Marvel films that have come out.
Nice.
We've been on a text thread with our buddy, Micah, who was pointing out some of the stuff that I hardly noticed at all. So I clearly was not paying as close attention as he was to the poor ADR and stuff like that in it.
Yeah, I didn't notice that either. Yeah.
Maybe,
I also did
maybe
not read it
wherever you
because I was
watched it,
yeah.
somebody messed up. Because there was a technical glitch in The Monkey. There was a skip, like 5 seconds,
Oh.
where there's you could tell it was a digital glitch.
Oh,
Oh.
So
interesting.
maybe
Okay.
that's what he saw, a glitched Captain America.
Yeah, it could be.
Maybe.
I wish that this had been closer to the Captain America movie, The Winter Soldier, which
Yeah.
kind of grounded Captain America a little more. It's really hard to
Yeah.
do that when your Captain America can now fly and shoot energy blasts out of his wings and all of this stuff. I was like, oh, they've kind of turned him into Iron Man now, and
Mhm.
and I don't know if I like that part as much, but I thought that Sam Wilson as Captain America, I was like, you know what? I think I'm fine with this. I thought he did a good job. What about you?
How did you feel about Harrison Ford and his whole thing?
Here's here's what I will say about Harrison Ford. I don't know why this guy continues to make movies because he clearly doesn't want to be in movies, and he
Yes.
sleepwalks through this like he has the last Star Wars movie and the last Indiana Jones movie. The last time I saw him actually kind of bite into a role, I think, was Blade Runner 2049. And I
Yeah.
think that he's just, I don't know what his deal is. If he needs
he's
more
just-
money,
I think he's just old. I think he was really giving it his best.
do you? Okay, did you
I
like him?
do. I don't like that character a ton.
Yeah.
But I was excited to see more of the tie-ins to the first Hulk film that is sort of the, redheaded stepchild of the MCU, where it counts, but like I was like, oh hey, they're actually making it count. Cool. So I liked that part, but also like Ross, I don't give a fuck, man. I don't know how much I'm supposed to care about this dude. Whatever. I couldn't remember who the guy who fucked over even was from the previous film because it's been a good 8
It's been a
years
while.
since I've seen it.
Right.
So-
I remembered him fine, but I did think it was wild that the only thing you really needed to know before this movie was that Incredible Hulk movie from 15 years ago.
Yes.
And
because they
Falcon and the Winter
recapped-
Soldier.
No,
Oh.
the Falcon Winter Soldier stuff, the fact that they were like, man, I don't deserve to be the Winter Soldier. I'm like, you had a whole season to learn this lesson. You can't say this now. I've already gone on this journey with you. Shut the fuck up. No. Bad movie.
Well,
But yes,
yeah.
but they did not explain any of that. I was like, oh shit, it's Liv Tyler's like photo on a frame. They're going with that. And no one else, like if you didn't see that movie and remember that she is the love interest, then you wouldn't have cared at all. And I was like, this is like a big drop. I thought maybe not. I don't know.
I would have thought that if they were going to do the Red Hulk, that there should have at least been a cameo by Bruce Banner, if not the Hulk.
Why didn't he Hulk out on the sub? That's what I don't understand. That would have been so much danger and so much stress. And no, they wait until it's like a perfectly acceptable fight area. I was like,
Yeah. Yeah,
Just
I don't know. There,
murder
I
a
mean,
bunch of people.
it's certainly not a perfect movie, but I
No,
did enjoy it more than the last couple, The Eternals,
Marvels
and I
and
guess you do
oh
have
yeah,
to know about the Eternals because they suddenly make the
there's a
Eternal
giant
that's sticking out of the earth is now the source of adamantium. And I
yeah.
was like, oh, okay,
Oh,
that's
Watching
interesting.
sure.
Harrison Ford explain what adamantium was one of the best cinematic moments I've seen in like years. I was like, yes, brava. They
He
made you do that.
he had to be sitting there going, you know what? I thought the Star Wars dialogue was awful.
Yeah,
But
incredible.
uh, but anyway, I liked it well enough, and I was glad to see that it had a huge opening, even though the critics were not very kind to it. So now we'll see what comes next. What does come next?
Film wise, Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four, which has no tie to
That
anything previous. So
Nope.
that looks so promising, man.
I
it
know,
does.
right?
That
God,
trailer. Ooh.
I'm really excited. Really, really excited.
Yeah.
Little Pedro's growing up.
Longest overnight sensation ever.
I
That's
know.
right.
I know. Um, well, speaking of Marvel, I watched the entirety of Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, did you finish it up, Kelly?
I did.
Okay. I loved it.
It's pretty dang good.
Oh,
It's
cool.
pretty dang good.
Yay.
My expectations were not great because I was like, I am so fucking sick of watching Spider-Man get rebooted. But the way that it's dealt with, the storylines they're following, I love that it's an alt universe in the way that it's like, hey, I mean, as somebody who read the whole Runaways line, I was like, fucking what? What? You're here? Okay. And then like trying to chase like who different people are and like what their versions of life in this universe are. And it was really good. And I think they got the heart of Spider-Man perfectly. I love the journey he goes through. I was really worried about the football player, whose name I've forgotten, not Luke, but
Flash?
He
no.
turns into
Okay.
Tombstone.
Tombstone. He ends
Wow.
up as Tombstone. Something with an L. But he's such a good guy, and I was like, oh sure, now you're in the gang. Great. Fuck you. I hate the storyline. I hate everything about it. And then eventually I was like, okay, I like kind of came around to it. By the time they finished the season, I felt like they did a pretty good job. So yeah.
What is that
Nico.
on?
That's
Is
on
that,
Disney Plus.
Disney Plus. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I felt the same way. When I first started watching it, I was like, okay, nah, I don't know if this is great or not, but I'm in it because I thought the animation was beautiful. I love that some of the characters look like they're right off of a Steve Ditko page, but then it'll switch to John Romita Jr. version of a different character. It's like they chose the most interesting version of that character to be the animated
Oh.
version. And I thought
That's
that
cool.
was really neat. And I'm going to give away one little thing that just kind of blew my mind. We always get the Ben telling Peter, with great power comes great responsibility. And in this
Yeah.
one, he's basically working for Harry Osborn. And Harry tells him he can't hold back because with great power comes great respect.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Sick.
I did not see this coming. This is kind of brilliant.
Yeah. I think they
So-
did a great job with Osborne and who's his best friend?
The girl?
No. Like normally, typically his best friend. Well, I guess Harry. Okay, so because Norman
Oh, Norman Osborn is
is
who
the
I meant. Yeah.
dad and Harry's
Yeah,
the son.
that's right.
Yeah, like I loved that budding relationship and how he's like a social media star, the Harry, and it's like, oh,
Right.
fuck, yes. I don't know. There was a lot of just neat things, and they kept hot Aunt May, which I was like, Austin and I were talking about how there's going to be a whole generation of people who only know Aunt May as hot Aunt May, and it's like, oh,
You know
it's so
what though? That makes so much more
It's-
sense than a 16-year-old kid who's got an 80-year-old aunt. I was like, how old
Yep.
were his folks?
Like that's the older sister. The younger sister was born 20 years later.
That's
Yeah.
right. So yeah, it's a great little show, and it's done now. I think it was 10 episodes, and I thought it ended on a really interesting note. And I'm just like, wow, please, more of this.
They
Excellent.
have been greenlit for 2 more seasons, so you will get more of this.
Excellent with that and the X-Men cartoon. I'm like, wow, I never saw myself as being a big Marvel cartoon guy, but here we are.
This- for good reason. Up until recently, for really good reason. Yeah, it's like if Disney's got it, don't worry, they will put out more stuff. If it'd been on Netflix, you might go, maybe it will, maybe it won't. But there'll be 3 seasons of various different characters spinning off from this show if it
You're
continues to do
probably
well.
right.
Speaking of spinning off, sort of, I've been watching the Dune Prophecy show on what is it, HBO? Yeah, on Max.
Yeah. How
And
is it?
after the last time I talked about Dune 2, I was like, I've read the first book 3 or 4 times. I should maybe read the second one. So I've read the second one, and I'm in the middle of, I just started Children of Dune. And this gets the world still. There's one weird problem with it. It's supposed to take place 10,000 years before Paul Atreides.
Oh.
Okay.
I'm like, everybody looks really similar in their outfits and in the tech they've got and everything that's going on for 10,000 years to have passed. I know they're not supposed to create any intelligent robotics or computers because of the wars and the destruction, but it seems like maybe fashion would change. People might look a little different in the way they dressed after 10,000 years, but putting that aside, it's the story of the formation of the which is that belief system and the learning of the voice and all the things that go along with that. So it's interesting. I would not recommend it to anybody who didn't really like the movies or really like the book, because it is similarly paced. It is one of those things that, like, I'm reading Dune Messiah going, man, I'm really into this, but nothing is going on. I don't know. It's all this weird political intrigue stuff. But so yeah, it's good, but it definitely requires a Dune fan, I think. Whatever weird name they have.
So that's Dune Prophecy. Is it doing things that you recognize as, oh, this is going to mean something when you get to the first? Okay.
Yeah, that's part of the problem again with the 10,000 years. They're doing stuff that feels like, oh, I could see where this would develop in about 5 years into what it is now. But yeah, it definitely it does a really good job of painting the picture of, like, in here the Harkonnens have been defeated and are kind of the powerless peons of the universe, and they're kind of starting to rise up a little bit, but yeah, so definitely fits in.
Cool. And that is on Max, right?
Yes. Yep. Max.
Dune Prophecy. Okay, how about we take a little break? Vanessa can get 6 or 7 more blankets on her if possible.
It's like,
and then
come back hooded up.
when we come back, we are talking about Aussie flicks.
Attention all ring raiders. Evil Skull Squadron closing fast. Scramble, scramble.
Ring Raiders, intercept Skull Squadron. Battle Blaster on.
The Battle Blaster sound machines make every dogfight seem real.
Missiles locked.
Collect the greatest fighter planes of all time. 48 hot-looking, highly detailed planes, available in squadrons of 4. Ring Raiders video, blaster, and planes from Matchbox.
The command is in your hands.
And we are back. Eric, this was your subgenre pick. What were we talking about?
Australian films. The place you go where you want critters to kill you, apparently.
Everything wants to kill you in Australia.
Everything's
That's right.
Yep.
Okay, well, I'm going to give you 5 minutes on the Strange
Sounds
Ian's
good.
radio buzzer, and I will show you. It's going right now.
All right. So I picked one that I've wanted to watch for a while. That from 1976, Mad Dog Morgan.
It'll be your money or your life. You. It's me.
And then tell me, what do you think creates a monster like this man Morgan?
You Chinese loving bastard.
I'm a tired stranger.
Stranger. You're Daniel Morgan.
Quite a man. He's a name with 1,000 pounds reward and blood on his hands. I told you not to go for the police. You tell him I'm coming across that river. What call you, senor? Call me Mr. Daniel Morgan.
This is, well, it's an interesting film. Let's just say that. It's available from, I think it's Shout Factory, Prime, Freevee, a few different places. Directed by Philip Mara, who you may know from Dracula, Nazi Hunter, How I Learned to Love Christopher Lee and Drink Atomic Bombs. Or maybe The Mystery of the Reclining Nude. No, wait. I got it. Howling 2 and The Beast Within. Those you know. Okay, written by Philip Moore as well, wrote most of his stuff. Also Margaret Carnegie, who this is the only film he's listed as having written. The stars, Dennis Hopper. Came down, got pulled down to there to follow up Easy Rider and precede Blue Velvet and Speed. Dude's been in 208 things, man. Jack Thompson, who was in Breaker Morant, the recent Man Thing, and I think it's Paul Verhoeven's Flesh Plus Blood. David Goatley, Crocodile Dundee, Walkabout, and he's an Indigenous Australian. So the movie breakdown, this is more or less based on a real person named Daniel Morgan, dives right in with a guy explaining how Mad Dog has recently been killed after a manhunt of a long time. The credits roll and kind of let me know I'm probably not a big fan of long-form dickery-do music. Boy, let me tell you, 3 minutes of credits and nothing but that. It's like, wow, that's a lot. Not surprisingly, the film starts off with some fairly racist stuff, but Mad Dog Morgan is the hero and punches out the racist guys. So, establish him as a complicated character right off the bat. He then goes and does opium and gets the opium den destroyed, and his one friend gets killed, and he ends up going to jail, and the getting out of jail, but then shortly after that, killing a lawman. And that's pretty much the rest of the movie is him getting hunted down. It's sort of a twisting of a American Western or the Italian Westerns even that were done before that. And it doesn't quite pull it off in a lot of ways. Dennis feels like he's giving it all, but he's giving it all through, like, I don't know, drunken or drug haze, where he just seems oddly disconnected, even though he's just feels like he's giving everything he can. It's very strange. I mean, he's good. It's entertaining. If you're a Dennis Hopper fan, you should see this. Most of the rest of the movie, but the he goes from being that kind of heroic guy in the beginning to just sort of a dick as it goes on, with occasionally kind of coming to the rescue of somebody. So it's a uneven film. The film finished and immediately polarized audiences on Australia. Some of them absolutely hated it, shocked and horrified at the portrayal of Australia being filled with a guy like that, even though he's, I think, Irish, or I think he's Irish in the movie. And boy, Dennis Hopper's Irish accent, something to behold. But there's like killings of cops. There's a did he or did he not get rape scene with Dennis Hopper in prison. And so, it's not a subtle film. Troma Entertainment was the first to release this in the US. There's a heavily edited version, but now this one is the unedited. I'm not entirely certain what was cut out. The critic John Simon wrote about this movie: "Whoever can find me a film more incoherent, indeed inept, gets a reward in the shape of the ears of a wombat."
Oh my.
So,
Wowzer.
yeah, it was not received particularly well. I wanted to see it a while. Glad I saw it, but did find myself actually really enjoying for about half an hour and then getting really bored for a while. And then like, okay, this is, but I could also, this is one that it's such a weird film. There are people that love this film, I can guarantee you, because it is really strange.
I've never even heard of this movie.
Oh, really?
No, this is not on my radar at all. Wild.
Yep. Well, like I said, Dennis Hopper, 208 films, so.
Right.
He's done a few.
Vanessa, you want to go next?
Absolutely.
Put 5 minutes on the buzzer for you.
Perfect. Well, this was a great opportunity for me to rewatch Picnic at Hanging Rock from 1975.
What we see and what we seem are but a dream within a dream.
Well, young ladies, we are indeed fortunate in the weather for our picnic to Hanging Rock. Once again, let me remind you, the rock itself is extremely dangerous. You are therefore forbidden any tomboy foolishness in the matter of exploration, even on the lower slopes. I also wish to remind you, the vicinity is renowned for its venomous snakes and poisonous ants of various species. It is, however, a geological marvel. That is all. Have a pleasant day, and try to behave yourselves in a manner to bring credit to the college.
Stopped at 12. Never stopped before. Must be something magnetic.
Everything begins and ends at exactly the right time and place. You must learn to love someone else apart from me. I won't be here much longer.
Yeah, I hadn't seen it in a while and I was hoping I still liked it. So this is directed by Peter Weir, who has 31 credits, including Dead Poets Society, Witness, Gallipoli, The Truman Show, Master and Commander. It's based on a book by Joan Lindsay. Pretty modest budget, 443 to 480,000,
Wow.
probably Australian didgeridoos or whatever they you know, trade back and forth. And it did pretty good. It got 5.2 million. Starring mostly unknowns. They purposely went out of their way to find kind of local schoolgirls and not known talents. Maybe the only recognizable person, aside from like one super, super tiny part who ended up being a larger lady, was the school headmistress, played by Rachel Roberts, who has 54 credits, including Murder on the Orient Express, When a Stranger Calls, Charlie Chan, and The Curse of the Dragon Queen. The story is that it is St. Valentine's Day, and the students from Appleyard College, a girls' private school in Victoria, Australia, are super hyped. They wander around the grounds, getting ready for the day, sharing their Valentines and enjoying flowers. There's just a lot of general merriment. Two roommates, Miranda and Sarah, are hanging out when Miranda tells Sarah that she will need to learn to love somebody else and be okay without her, which is an ominous thing to get to hear from your best friend.
My.
Meanwhile, everyone's getting ready to take a very special field trip to enjoy a picnic at Hanging Rock. They're warned ahead that Hanging Rock is a dangerous place and you should not explore it independently. And not only is it large and easy to get lost in, it's also filled with venomous snakes and poisonous ants. They say this many times. Then they all pile into a carriage to get ready to go, because this is 1900-ish times, except for Sarah, who's pulled to the side and basically told, you will not be going today. Sarah's kind of unpopular, not only with the girls, but also with the headmistress and the staff. She's an orphan, and basically because of that, they're just dicks to her. When the group gets to Hanging Rock, they enjoy some food and lazily hang around in the shade at the rock's base. They read Shakespeare and nap and eat. Four students asked if they can be excused to go measure the rock using geometry. They are granted permission, and Miranda, Marion, Irma, and Edith leave, but of course they have no intention of taking measurements and instead play and frolic and explore the rock. The further up they go, the stranger things become, as there seems to be an almost descent into madness as they keep going up. Edith is tired and suddenly filled with panic when the girls turn around a bend without her. And near the top of the rock, she rushes back down all the way, screaming at the top of her lungs, going through thorn bushes and all kinds of shit. And then when she gets to the bottom, they're like, what's wrong? And she's like, I have no idea. So the group returned to the school much later than expected, missing the remaining three girls in addition to a teacher. A great search begins for the girls from the local town, but days pass without any sight of them. Sarah becomes more despondent and distressed as Miranda was her only real friend. The headmistress becomes more and more cruel to her, and the pressure of the missing girls seems to become a punishment aimed directly at her. A young man who is at the rock that day becomes obsessed with finding the girls, specifically Miranda, because she's gorgeous and everyone loves her for some reason. And along with his servant/friend, they go back to the rock searching for the girls. They do not come back empty-handed. So this story is cool because it's a mystery and it stays a mystery. I think that's what's so compelling about it. No one seems to really know what happened, and no matter how many like little threads and little extra gimmies they pass along the way, you don't get any new clues. It's just like, oh, and this person saw something, but they can't remember, or this thing emerged, but it doesn't mean anything. It's extremely beautiful. It's slow. It's dreamy. It's super surrealist. There's a just kind of longing from every character. Miranda longs for death or fate. Sarah's longing for Miranda. Michael's longing for answers. The headmistress is longing for the success of the bygone days. There's also a moment where everything goes into a frenzy that feels kind of like Heavenly Creatures. And it's pretty cool. Watching a bunch of schoolgirls go batshit is terrifying. It's like watching fucking hyenas attack. It's true stuff. I love the film at the time that I saw it, and I loved it again. I think it's super rich. It's unique. It's the landscape is gorgeous. The era it captures is interesting, and I just love the filmic style. Also, things I didn't realize the first time around: ominous pan flute. There's a lot of ominous pan flute happening in this. Occasionally, there's an ominous theremin. I was like, man, there's a lot of just strange. And the occasionally they'll zoom in on like a koala, and you're like, ominous koala.
Australia.
Australia's fucked, man. Not a ton of trivia. Taglines on St. Valentine's Day in 1900, a party of schoolgirls set out to picnic Rock, and some never return. We shall only be gone a little while. And the one I hate the most, A Recollection of Evil. They're trying to make it sound like it's a horror film, and it's like got like darkness to it, but it's not a horror film. Everybody stays very purposefully vague about whether or not this story is true. When Peter Weir asked the author, Joan Lindsay, if it was true, she said, "Young man, I hope you do not ask me that question again." No one explicitly says it's not true, but it's not true. However, the crew and a lot of the cast found the rock itself very unsettling. Strange things did happen when they were filming there, including things like watches stopping, things going missing. Just generally, everybody felt very uncomfortable being there. And yeah, there was once in 2018 a 6-episode miniseries starring Natalie Dormer and Samara Weaving, released on Prime, also about picnic at Hanging Rock. I have not seen it. I should.
Yeah, this is a cool movie.
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
Yeah,
very, very unsettling. I saw the miniseries, and it's not as cool. They tell in, whatever, 6 hours or 4 hours or something, what was told much better in 2 hours.
Oh, that's a bummer. Yeah, I think they do such a good job. I mean, you do feel like there's moments missing from the film. Like the headmistress is just like, all right, Sarah's just gone home. And then you find out what happened to Sarah. And there's no like real explanation. I don't know, like things just happen, and in a way that's cool because you're like, oh, okay, I didn't like have a bunch of time wasted on it, but I also would have liked maybe a little more like hints as to stuff that was about to happen or did happen. But it's a cool film. I'm just bummed that I missed it because it played at Cinerama this week, but I could not get out there.
Wow.
Yeah. Jeez. Yeah, it's part of a series of stuff going on out there. There's some really interesting things getting shown. So
I saw this first about 25 or 30 years ago, and it was told to me that this was absolutely a true story. So it has been proven that it is not a true story at all?
Yeah, I mean, just for an example, it says like on the cover or whatever that this took place on Saturday on February 14th in the year 1900. Valentine's Day fell on Wednesday. In 1900. There's like, it's not a true story. No, like she made it up. It's actually based on I watched the little documentary about it that's attached to the Criterion Blu-ray, which is how I saw it. And it's based off of a dream or a series of dreams she had.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, and it just really stuck with her, and so she wrote it out, and that's where the story comes from.
Huh. Okay. Well, dang.
I mean, it's all real, Kelly.
Right.
Ooh.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre, this one, all totally real.
Well, I think that because normally I would be kind of disappointed that there is no revelation to what the mystery is at the end of this, and I was okay with it because I thought this was a true story.
Oh, no.
But now you know it's based on a
nobody
dream.
knows.
It's based on a dream, so the dream never finished.
Yeah.
Alarm woke her up.
All right. What did you watch this on? Is that available to stream?
It probably is. I would guess it would be available on Prime, but I watched it on my Criterion Blu-ray copy.
Okay.
Max.
It's on Max.
Max, yeah.
Cool.
Amazing.
I might give that another watch and then complain bitterly the entire time. That's not how this happened at all.
Listen out for that pan flute. I'm telling you, it'll get you.
There you go.
All right, guys, putting 5 minutes on the buzzer, and I am talking about a film from 2017 called Bore.
Okay, cabin fever is officially set in. I suggest the next town we come to, we pull over and get some grub.
Good idea. Sounds great. tearing the fences down there at the old Patterson's farm there.
He's down a few sheep too.
Huh?
Something's killed him, yeah.
Well, what, all 9 of them?
There's nothing out there except dust and ruse.
That's a load of shit, Ernie, and you know it. You remember that smash up on the highway coming into town, right, about 12 months ago? They couldn't find the couple. All the police found was the wrecked car. I was driving back from Bob's place in my truck, and I saw something in the paddock, about 300 or 400 metres off, and I hit the spotty on it. It was a boar. Ready?
Which is what everybody screams in the audience when I start talking. This is directed by Chris Sun, who has 6 credits, including Come and Get Me, Daddy's Little Girl, The Possessed, and Charlie's Farm. And it's written by Chris and Kirsty Dallas, who is listed as the story editor. And she is listed as the story editor on all of his movies, but also then a written by. So it's a weird credit she gets. Yeah. Anyway, starring Nathan Jones, who has 35 credits. He was in Mad Max Fury Road and Furiosa. He was in Hobbs and Shaw, Spiderhead, Ricky Stenicki. You'd recognize him very much because he is the guy in Mad Max Fury Road who holds up the dead baby. I had a little brother! You know, so he's that big bald guy.
Yeah.
And he looks just like that in this movie, too. So I was like, oh, okay. This is also starring John Jarratt, who has 102 credits, including Wolf Creek, Christmas Down Under, and 6 episodes of Darby and Joan. And Bill Moseley is in this. 149 credits, including Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, House of a Thousand Corpses, and Prisoners of the Ghostland. Have you guys seen Boar?
Yeah, I have.
No.
Okay.
Oh.
Eric, this is your kind of movie.
Yep.
We open with a couple driving along a road in the outback of Australia, and they're young and they're cute and in love and teasing each other. And then all of a sudden the man swerves and slams on the brakes, and we see he has narrowly missed hitting a tiny rabbit. They laugh this off, but then they are suddenly in the middle of a stampede of feral pigs. It's kind of wild to see all these pigs running around their vehicle and across the road in front of them, and they have time to say, I wonder what that was about. When all of a sudden, a boar as big as a fucking rhinoceros slams into their truck and kills them. So, yes, this is an Australian creature feature about a dinosaur-sized boar, and it is a lot of fun, actually. We follow a small family that has traveled to visit an uncle who owns a small farm just outside of town. And man, the killing starts immediately. The neighbor farmer goes out at night looking for his dog and instead stumbles on this giant boar who kills and eats him and the dog after plowing through their barbed wire fence. And then the next night, the boar goes trampling through a campsite and kills and eats a young couple in a particularly gruesome scene. Other campers in the area scare the boar away with a gunshot, but when they go back to their truck for more ammo, the boar is waiting for them in an ambush. and that's kind of what this movie is about. Someone will find a person being attacked by the boar, will scare the boar off, and then the person they saved dies from their wounds, and then the boar doubles back and kills them too. Like, you know, that's what you get for getting in my business. Is there anyone who can stop this boar? And will it be the 2 women who were the least likely when this film began? And if they do somehow happen to kill this van-sized boar, what's to stop another giant boar from appearing and squealing defiantly in the final scene?
Yeah.
Yeah, gang, this film, not very good, but a lot of fun. It delivers on the deaths, but because so many people are being killed, and I mean the death count is high in this, the characterization is paper thin. So you don't get to know anybody. They are introduced and then they are killed. And that is okay because when you finally get to see the creature in full in the third act, you're like, you know what? All worth it. Taglines in this. I don't know which one I like best. In the outback, no one can hear you squeal. Or hogs and kisses.
Oh my God.
Or get ready for some giant monster pig on the loose fun.
Oh, Jesus, no.
Well, correct.
Trivia. This doesn't say we are recording. Okay.
Yes.
Hey, gang, we have had a wild glitch here where my computer just shit the bed, and we are now reconvening the next day.
Yes.
To finish this up, because that's what we do for you, the listener.
That's right.
Of course, Mother Nature has other plans because everybody's power is starting to flicker from a massive windstorm.
Yep.
It sure is.
I'm going to rush right through the end of my trivia here. So, trivia on this movie. There is an uncut version with more gore, but it is yet to be released. At the breakfast scene at the farm, one of the characters talks about how creepy the farm they are at is and says, "I've seen Charlie's Farm," which is a reference to an Australian gory haunted house farm movie. This is the same director. And the lead from this movie played Charlie in Charlie's Farm. And the farm that he is talking about is the same location as Charlie's Farm from that movie. So,
oh my God.
There
just
you go.
a little funny thing there. And my final bit of trivia on this is the movie in 2020 was nominated for the Best Creature Effects Award at the Fangoria Chainsaw Awards. The only reason I think that's interesting is that the movie is listed as coming out in 2017. So I don't know if that's because it took that long to get to America or what. That was my movie. It was called Boar. Before we lose all power and everything like that, who's got the next selection?
That'll be me.
Yeah,
what are we talking about next week?
So next week we're going to talk about all things animated, and that doesn't just have to be hand drawn. It can be painted, it can be claymation, and to make it even wider open, it doesn't even have to be the whole film. It can be just part of the film, or a little segment of the film, but it could also be the whole film. So
I have no
making
idea
it easy.
Make it easy. Okay.
Making it easy. Okay, we're talking about some kind of animation stuff next week.
There you go. Title of the episode.
Some kind of animation.
I'll have you guys know that I have now just spent multiple hundreds of dollars that I do not have on a new computer, which should be here this week.
Oh, good.
Okay, so this is the part where we say thanks to everybody for tuning in, for liking and sharing posts, for interacting with us on the Strange Eons Radio talk page on Facebook, which is still the best Facebook page, especially with all the bullshit going on in the world right now. For reaching out to us on the Strange Eons Radio hotline, which is 253-237-4266. And especially thank you for everybody who's sending money our way. Every little bit helps. And I just bought a new computer, so don't be stingy.
Even more helps now.
It's called value for value. If you get a little value out of this, give a little value back.
Love it.
I think that's it, gang. I can hear the rain just pelting my window right here.
Yeah,
So,
we've got hail, we've got lightning, we've got all kinds of stuff over here. So.
Right before we started, the lights here dimmed like 3 times. I was kind of hoping we'd get one of those too while we're here, but nope. But it is happening.
All right. So you guys batten down the hatches, and I will see you guys next week. And we'll see all of you next week, hopefully in person. And we're talking about some kind of animation in a film.
Some kind of animation.
All right. See you next Thursday. Transportation and other considerations for Strange Eons Radio produced by Pan Am Airlines. When you think of traveling, think of Pan Am. You can't beat the experience. Guests of Strange Eons Radio stay at Econo Lodge Everett.
It's an easy stop on the road. You know what we mean. Strange Eons Radio is recorded live in front of a studio audience. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider leaving us a positive review on your favorite podcast app. Sit, Ubu, sit.
We have had a wild glitch